Good morning, Manchester United fans, and welcome to Premier League Match Day Sunday. Brighton at home against Manchester United. But before we get into all of that, we want to get you updated with all the transfer speculation, rumours and gossip columns from around the papers and all reports coming out from late last night, again of which there is quite a lot. Romano himself, the man of the moment in transfer windows, has dropped the bombshells this morning. Well, not so much bombshells, but pretty much confirming that Antony's gone. Rashford's in talk with Dortmund right now. Another bid for another left-back has been rejected. So another Manchester United left-back target has gone by the by. Through all of the other news, we're going to keep you up to date with everything else going on as well. Looking ahead to the game today. Busy day, busy schedule. It's match day. And of course, we can only start it off with our early morning 8 o'clock show to keep you all in the know before you head to Old Trafford or get your seat at the pub or at home. Whatever you're doing to watch the game today, this is your Manchester United full update on everything going around the club on and off the pitch. Off the pitch seems to be the busier at the moment. Well, we're saying something different later, hopefully, when United are at the dizzy heights of 11th after beating Brighton. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk more about that later. But Romano himself is the one that is dropping the news this morning. It is around Rashford. It is around Antony, confirming that Antony is about to walk out of the exit door of Manchester United. Finally, it looks like we have a deal set up. Real Betis, in fact, are the ones who have been chasing Antony throughout the transfer window. All of the reports have come around that move there. A couple of other clubs, Olympiacos interested a couple of times, but it does now look like Antony is out of the door. Another player in a forward position that Manchester United could do with, or in the wing-back position we could do with. This is a squad depth, squad issue sort of situation right now, is it? A few people would be worried. Like, we're talking about Garnacho and Rashford. We're talking about the lack of numbers that we've got up there. Antony, I think, utilises 2 spots. Does this mean that we are actually getting someone in? More news in a minute on the actual left-back situation and what bid United have had rejected for one of their targets again. Mendes is gone now. That is him signing with PSG. We talked yesterday about Alvaro Fernandez and that clause that United may trigger again. But we've obviously got talk of Antony as well, which is coming out now because of all of this news going around Manchester United on exits, with Malacia also leaving. More on that again in this show. But Antony, I think, could have covered both sides, and I think he was an option. Was used in these wide areas as well by Ruben Amorim. Has been used in the forward position as well in the 10. So utility player leaving Manchester United, it would seem. And the news is, and the actual detail of this actual loan move is that Real Betis are on the verge, this is from Romano himself, Real Betis are on the verge of agreeing a deal to sign Antony from Manchester United. Final details of the loan are being discussed. No option to buy clause currently included. As expected, to be honest. You're not really going to take a risk. There is going to be no option, really. I mean, options are options, and if Antony triggers something and he ends up having an absolute blast over there in Spain and naturally hits all sorts of record numbers, big ifs, let's be honest, but if he did, then you could have put something in. I think he wants to play games. Ruben's not going to use him. United just want to get him out of the way. I don't know what we're thinking in terms of replacement, because obviously we're getting no money for him. I don't know if there is a loan fee. That's not been said by Romano yet. I don't know if this is actually happening or not, but when it comes to Antony, when it comes to Rashford, these deals moving forward right now, you do have to think, like, okay, maybe it is going to be the youth that we're attacking, like we said yesterday morning, and we're going to be promoting a couple of the youth players, because I honestly don't see any other headlines that are linking Manchester United to anyone significant in that forward position right now. And obviously, we said last night about the new bid in from Napoli. No word yet on that from anyone in the media or let's just say any credible sources saying that it's been rejected, or if it's been discussed, or if there's another bid coming in. Look, we've seen and we heard last night from the director, Mana, from Napoli, who was talking on Sky. He was saying basically that they're in discussions with United. He confirms it, but obviously it's on their terms and they want it on their terms. So there are real discussions going on for 3 forwards to be leaving Manchester United now. And still no sign of anybody coming in. We say this every single weekend. We say this at the start of every single week. This is going to be a massive week for United now. Surely we need to get things done if we have got any plans to bring anybody in. Antony, I think, is the lesser of the worries. He's not being used at all. Nobody rates him. Nobody thinks he's good enough for Manchester United. I thought he could have been used as a squad player when necessary. Last 10, 15 minutes or so here and there. No for Ruben Amorim. So another plan is obviously in the offing that we don't know about. So what we've got to look at with this is like with all of these so-called exits going for Manchester United, what is the plan? Are we installed for a bit of a bonanza last week of the transfer window because of everything going on right now? Look, Antony was never going to feature. We know that. That's been made clear by Ruben Amorim, not just the United fans and everyone else's opinions. I think Ruben has pretty much made it clear as well. Go find a club. So that's Antony out of the way. Obviously, that leaves more room on the bench. And then you're looking at, obviously, the Garnacho situation we just discussed. Well, then moving on to Marcus Rashford as well. And Romano coming out saying that Borussia Dortmund are going to open up talks this week. We know that they've already made some form of proposal to Manchester United and have registered an interest in Marcus Rashford with this deal. But what you've got to look at here is now, with AC Milan completely unofficially being out of the race, Napoli not interested in him, Juventus haven't come back in. I think you have to be looking at this and going and hoping more than anything, because I still don't think Barcelona are going to be able to get this deal done. Barcelona are interested, but like we said last night with Rashford, he has to drop his wages and Barcelona have to sell a player. Araujo's just signed a new contract. That's him not moving anywhere. Nobody is taking Frankie de Jong in January. They cannot afford him. Barcelona cannot get rid of players. I honestly do not know how they are even in the race for Marcus Rashford right now, if they are having to move players on. Look, they can register a player on loan, which is why I don't think that the Barcelona move is of any interest to United fans right now. Honestly, I don't think they're going to be anywhere near Marcus Rashford by the end of this window. Personally, he can say what he wants. He can have that as his preference, all he wants. It just isn't going to happen. I just don't see it materialising. Look, if they cannot register players... If they cannot register players to pay, obviously they're not registering Marcus Rashford as a full-time employee, so it's a little bit different, and that's how they would make this move happen. But they still need to find room to afford his wages. So with Rashford not budging and wanting the wages that he wants, I don't see Barcelona coming into it. The only hope United have got is some form of subsidised wages and he goes to Borussia Dortmund. That's it. I think that's his best option. And I've said this all along, and you all know through all of the shows that I've been talking about this, that this is Marcus Rashford's best option for moving from Manchester United in January. I think he'll guaranteed game time. I think he'll definitely improve there. The environment is miles better than what he's dealing with right now in England, with everything going on off the pitch and everywhere else in his life. I think the change of scenery and this working for United before, the relationship between the clubs, Dortmund and Manchester United, this just needs to be pushed now as the main option, I think, for Marcus Rashford. Get him gone, get him to Dortmund, and let's move on past this, because we need to now. We need to actually start thinking that this club is making plans. We need to be making plans for bringing somebody else in, I feel. And it needs to be rectified. Like I said at the top of the show, this last week of the window, last couple of weeks of the window could be absolutely huge for United now. They could be absolutely massive if we get these deals done. But I honestly feel like we're in a position where Rashford was hoping and felt like he was calling the shots. And now I think it's moved back. I think it's moved back across. As soon as Dortmund entered the race, or serious talks were happening, like Romano has said in his tweet this morning. As soon as we've got to this stage, I think it moves from Rashford and his people realising that nobody wants him. Like, this is a rude awakening for him. Your own club, your parent club, Manchester United, don't want you. AC Milan don't want you. Napoli wouldn't go near you. Barcelona are playing with you. They don't really have any sort of... I don't think they have anything in this at all, in this race for Rashford, like I just said. And now Dortmund, the only real club that has dealt with United in situations like this before, have come to the table. And this, I think, now moves across to United being in control of this situation. It's basically going to be saying to Marcus Rashford, look, we have just gone through nearly 2 months of football. That's what it's coming up to at the end of this month, because he's not going to play in January. We're going to be coming up to 2 months of football where we just haven't used you and we've not needed you. So you're not going to play. And we're happily paying your wages at the moment, so I don't think anything is going to be drastically put onto the table. It's like we have to move Rashford on because we can't have him. We can't have him just sat there getting paid and doing nothing. I think the club have stood by Ruben Amorim on this, and I think Rashford and his people will start to realise, look, we're not going to get football at Manchester United. Nobody else wants us. Nobody else can afford us because of what wages we're on. United are not bothered. What do you want to do? Do you want to sit on your wages at Manchester United and earn a fortune and just laugh? And then everybody's making their own minds up and giving their opinions on you? I don't know. Maybe conversations will be had with Ruben Amorim and he tries to mend the relationship. But for what I'm being told, what we're reading and what's being said, then I can't see that happening. He has to decide now if he wants to actually play football. That's what we're coming down to. Do you want to play? If not, keep doing what you're doing because no one's going to take you. Everybody sees through what Marcus Rashford is. And this has been proved in this first 3 weeks of this transfer window. Everybody can see what Marcus Rashford is right now. And he's sat there doing absolutely jack shit at the moment, doing nothing. And we are in this position where we're now improving a little bit under Ruben Amorim without him. I think reality is starting to come home. And it's starting to smack Marcus Rashford full on in the face right now. And it needs to as well. We definitely need this, Manchester United. This needs to be a win for Ruben Amorim. Otherwise, we are going backwards. And this is never going to get any better at this football club. If he doesn't move anywhere, and he's still not in the Man United squad, I still think this is a win for Ruben Amorim. Because it will be the biggest player at the football club, sat on the sidelines, not even on the sidelines, in the stands, watching football with everybody looking at him, going, what are you doing? What are you doing? A player is never in control of a football club. The manager's always the number one man. And now we've got an actual a structure and an ownership model in. Criticise them all you want, but we've got an ownership model in that is actually right behind the coach and making the coach the number one at the football club and backing his decisions. You're seeing what's happened at this football club with the likes of Sancho and Cristiano Ronaldo. And he thinks he's going to get away with it. He thinks he can get a better outcome out of it. I don't think so. I think, honestly, if he stays and he doesn't move anywhere, I still think he will move. I think he'll end up crawling back to Ruben Amorim. I think he will. But I just don't think he's naturally got it in him to play the way Ruben wants anyway. So he's going to be a bench player at best. Is that what you want for your big ego? Just go and make this deal happen. Drop your wages. Do whatever you can to actually get out of Manchester United and play football on your terms or whatever you want or whatever you think fits you. And then everybody can move on. That's the situation we're in right now. Just to quickly update you if you have just joined us as well. Get all of your comments in. Get talking to me, everybody. Get your thoughts in on the live chats. If you're not in the live chats, you need to be subscribed to be in there talking. Please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And let's get moving forward with your comments on this situation. Give the video a like as well. We're just hitting the 100 mark on the likes. So thank you everybody again for that. But yes, Marcus Rashford is in talks this week, or his people are in talks, Manchester United and Dortmund as well. This is from Romano this morning for Marcus Rashford to move over to the Bundesliga and play for Borussia Dortmund. That's where we're actually at the moment, and that is the situation as it currently is. Barcelona, just so everybody knows, are nowhere near moving anywhere closer to signing Marcus Rashford. And the days are ticking on from this window now. We are creeping into the last 2 weeks. The 19th of January today, still no move for Marcus Rashford. And Dortmund, I think, are our only hope right now. Let's get into the comments on this and see what you're saying, everybody. Adam, with these players going and we wait until the last few days into the January window, will selling club try get more money on their players? We don't want to panic buy. I don't think we're actually going to buy anyone, mate. I honestly don't. I think it's going to be promoting youth. Ineos will not be taken for mugs. They really won't, I don't think. And I think this is a learning curve for them as well, because you cannot enter a window, a January window, when you don't hold the cards and then tell all of these other football clubs what you want. I just don't think that's an option. It really isn't. So I think this is a learning curve for them as well. Look, United are trying their best to move every single one of these high-earning players out of the door. It's like John D says there. Casemiro will be happy to sit out the last 18 months of his contract, playing the occasional game before moving to the MSL. Look, United need to make moves. United are the ones, I feel, that need to make this happen. Look, if they don't want to subsidise Marcus Rashford's wages, Rashford's not going to drop his wages. His ego will always be cashing them checks. They always will, in his head anyway. That's what will be happening. And unless he drops his wages, he can't go to where he wants to go. Borussia Dortmund isn't his choice. So this is on United now. I think United are in control of this, but United will have to subsidise some form of his wage to get him to Dortmund. I think we all know that. How far they will go with it, I don't know. That's the question right now, isn't it? But yes, Barcelona, no. They have to do something miraculous. I honestly do not know why he would want to even move there. I still cannot figure that one out. It doesn't make any sense at all because he won't get game time. He won't get into the team. He's brain dead, honestly. And only Marcus Rashford and his people would think that that was the right move. Nobody else on the planet thinks that moving to Barcelona is right for Marcus Rashford. But they're nowhere near. Dortmund are in talks this week with Manchester United to try and make this deal happen. That, for me, and what Romano has said, it's the United talking with Barcelona side of things, not representatives of Marcus Rashford. I think Marcus Rashford's reps have spoken with Dortmund. The offer is on the table there for them to read through and go and talk with Marcus Rashford about. But still, when you look at it now, with it being both clubs talking, I think this is on United's terms now. So over to you, Ineos. What are you going to do to help Ruben in getting this poison out of Manchester United? You have to drop your demands. You have to pay more money. Pay more money to Marcus Rashford's wages to make sure that Dortmund can afford him and just get him gone right now. And you know what? You may even get the same Sancho saga scenario where it's all working out well. Rashford does well over in Germany, and he turns out to be a lot more, or worth a lot more in the summer. Look, remember the stories that were on earlier on in this window when United were actually offering Marcus Rashford out. Like, if someone wanted to come and take him now for 35 million, just come and take him on the cheap, guaranteed sale, gone. I think that is there, and I think United would snatch anybody's hands off at that right now. But nobody, and this just shows, if you've got a so-called world beater, which he thinks he is, and some people on this planet still think Marcus Rashford is, how come nobody has come in for him for 35 million? Everybody would say that that is too cheap. Honestly, that's what Marcus Rashford is worth right now. He isn't that player. I just don't get this situation at all. And it's all through Manchester United. It's all their fault. We know it is, for the wage and the way that we built this guy up to be something that he's not. And we've talked about this before. But honestly, the players and these wages, I think in 2 years we'll be rid of all of it. I think in 2 years Manchester United will be clear. I think all of these big earning players will be gone. And I think the club will be in a miles better position. The players that are at the football club right now, I think, are realising that. This is why you're not going to get the contract for Kobbie Mainoo that he wants. Garnacho doesn't stand a chance of getting a contract. I don't even know why that discussion was being had the other day or even brought up in the tabloids. We're now seeing that the likes of Garnacho not getting his way, possibly wanting to move across to Napoli, like we said. And yeah, I just think United now actually hold the cards. Look, just do what's necessary and then move on to the next transfer window, which is the summer. I think we're in a better position then and we can move on from there. Stanzin says Rashford not reducing his wage will let him retire from football. He's never going to play again for Manchester United. Rodrigo says Dortmund penny pinchers, don't expect them to be able to pay Rashford even if we subsidise 80% of his wages. Look, they can, because they did it with Sancho. And if they get rid of Gittins as well, then obviously there is room there in that squad. So they can afford the wages. They just cannot afford the pay packets. They can't afford big transfers. So it definitely does move into the realm of, like, what can United do? If it's half or if it's even more than half, just pay it. Because you're still going to pay it and just have him sat on the sidelines, aren't you? At Manchester United, isolated from the squad, not training. I can't, there is a part of me that can see Marcus Rashford just grovelling at the end of this transfer window and realising Maybe this is a plan from United. I don't know. I don't want him at the football club at all. But maybe this is a plan from Ruben Amorim. Let's just let him go and do all of these talks. Let him realise that nobody wants him and he's not worth it. And he's going to have to come back and play football like he used to when he first burst on the scene and become a United player again. I don't think there's one Man United fan that wants that to happen. Well, there probably is. And there probably are these fans that are still clinging on to hope that Rashford can turn back into that player. Look, I don't know. I don't know if that is a plan. I hope it isn't, and I hope they just want to get rid of him because the sentimental FC tag that United have got is what is going to keep dragging this club further and further and further down this table. And until they make a stand against players like this, we are going to continue to fall. And unfortunately, the United fans will be the ones that suffer because we will be forced to sit there watching these players who really don't give a shit about the football club, who don't give a toss about what the fans think, about what happens after the game, where the club is, what competitions the club are in. As long as they get paid, as long as they keep their social media running and everything is good with their brand deals and everything, that's all they care about, then unfortunately for us, we will be the ones on the other end of it. Rashford at this moment is a mannequin. Just leave him at the touchline as United. As United field, as United mascot. It must be paining him. It must be paining him to sit there and know that he has to turn up to these games in the stands and just watch this team and everybody in the stadium's looking over at him and going, wow, look at Ahmad right now, Marcus. Look at him. Look what he's doing. Remember when that was you, mate? There's nowhere for him to hide. United will hang him out to dry. He's never going to get a new deal. If he doesn't manage to move in January, then we are going to be a right old situation. But I actually do believe that United won't budge on this. I don't think they will. Let's see what else we've got. Super chat in as well from DJ John. DJ John, thank you, my friend. Get Rashford out ASAP. His reign in this club is over. Greetings from Thailand, by the way. I'm a bit drunk now, but I'm on holiday, so it doesn't matter. You are more than welcome on the show, whether you're a bit tipsy or not, my friend. Go and enjoy your holiday. We're paying his wages, whether we like it or not, to send him off to Plymouth for the rest of the season. Absolute rat of a kid. Ooh, brutal. Greg says, think about it this way. We tried. It's only really going to hurt him if he doesn't go. It's an anonymous. He's anonymous for us, but career ending for him. Look, either way, United are in a position where we're going to be paying Marcus Rashford's wages at the end of this window. It's a good point from the comment there, and I think everybody understands it. We are going to be in a position where we're paying money to Marcus Rashford, but it just depends where he's actually playing, and that's what's important, I think, in this for United fans right now. So it's up to Marcus Rashford, and that's where we go from there with it. Thank you. DJ John, 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, my friend. Love that. Welcome back to the members club. You got Raws as well. Welcome to the chat, mate. What a way to come back in. Okay, what I move on with other news. Obviously, there's a few people who have just joined the show as well. If you haven't already subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. Get involved in the chat. Just to recap on what we've covered already. Giovanni Manna, obviously the director at Napoli, has openly spoken about Garnacho right now. Another bid went in last night, approximately 55 million euros, 46.5 million quid. So that bid is in. He has openly talked about the situation. Of course, we're talking to Manchester United. It's something that we are keeping our eye on, and we want to do it on our terms. It has to be that suits Napoli. Of course, he's going to say that, but the fact that he has openly come out on TV now and said that they're negotiating with United for Garnacho kind of puts to bed anything or any doubts that United really are in a transfer saga with him and what's going on with Garnacho at the moment. I'm just going to get my Sunday morning brew. Thank you. Marcus Rashford and Manchester United are talking this week with Dortmund over a possible loan move for him. So hopefully that moves forward very, very quickly as well. And Antony, according to Fabrizio Romano, he's edging ever closer to that loan exit door. Real Betis have They've put a new bid in, we heard yesterday. Romano has said we're in the final stages right now. So they've come closer to what Manchester United want. So realistically right now, I think we're looking to wait to see how much wages United are paying Antony in moving to Real Betis. He's on about 200k a week. So be really interested to see how much Betis are putting into this deal. But yeah, saving money on Antony. He's going to be out of the door. No option to buy in that loan deal, by the way. Romano as well, in terms of Manchester United incomings, wanted to move on to that next. Lecce, left back, Patrick Dorgu, another player we've talked about a few times on this show that United have been interested in. I think Liverpool have also been interested in Dorgu. I'm not even sure if Liverpool have made another bid for Dorgu. But yeah, that deal now looks to be dead in the water. United have had a bid rejected, according to Romano, on Dorgu because Lecce do not want to sell him in January. It's the same old thing. I think the comment came up earlier on in the show saying, are we going to go and panic buy? Ineos need to understand how January works in the Premier League and at a big football club. This is completely new. This is completely new to Ineos. And they have to understand that you are not going to be able to get players in January. You're not going to be able to bid like you do in the summer transfer window. They've got people working now. I mean, Christopher Vivel knows the game. Wilcox will know the game. They're maybe just making bids and testing the water. But Lecce are officially in a relegation fight in Serie A. And they don't want to let Patrick Dorgu go. So that's the situation we're at with that. Apparently, but we have actually made a bid. So we're actively bidding for defenders. We're actively trying to buy players. Now, his value is around 30 million euros. So how much money do we have? Does that actually give us an idea as to what Manchester United could do in this transfer window, probably more than anything else? I think that's probably how we're going to look at this. I think looking at Dorgu, I think United have probably, I don't know what the bid is, but have we got enough money to bid around about 20 million euros for a player this window? I think if we have had a bid, and Romano is right in what he's saying, and he usually is, as we know, if he is saying that United have had a bid rejected for Dorgu, it would be interesting to see exactly how much that was, because that means then that United do have money. If that bid is in, why are we not looking? And it really does go down the line of Ruben Amorim does not fancy Alvaro Fernandez. And that deal will never happen. As much as I bigged it up yesterday, and how cheap Alvaro Fernandez actually is, and how well he's playing, if Ruben Amorim doesn't want him, we're just not going to go in for him, and we're not going to get him. It makes sense on paper for everybody, but there is something there that doesn't work, surely. Why are we bidding for Dorgu when Alvaro's there for 8 million? And he's probably up there with one of the best in Europe right now, the way he's playing, in that left wing back position for Benfica. Honestly, it's a weird situation, right? But I can only think that Ruben Amorim doesn't rate him, or Ruben Amorim really likes other players, or it has to be a different profile of player. I can't see United having any issue in going back for him. Everything that happened with Alvaro Fernandez in the past was in the past. And everybody that was at the club at that time has now left the football club, from directors, owners, coaches, managers, players, everything. Like, there's so much water gone under the bridge since Alvaro Fernandez's deal was done early in the summer. I don't think it's going to be an issue if Manchester United actually do bring him back for anyone at the football club. So I can only put this down to Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim doesn't fancy Alvaro Fernandez because that is the most logical transfer to make when you're looking at the finance side of things. But again, how are we that concerned about finances? I've said this with Alejandro Garnacho as well on this deal, and people getting ahead of themselves in terms of how much Garnacho is actually worth. Look, all that matters is the players that are on that pitch that Ruben Amorim wants to work with. Football, football, football. Finances, yes, great. And we'll all feel good if we get a good deal. And everybody feels like we're talking about good deals. The only reason we're talking about finance is because United have actually spent and overspent on so many players in the past. You look at Maguire, you look at the likes of Paul Pogba, Harry Maguire, Jadon Sancho, Antony. All of these players that Manchester United have spent fortunes on in the past that have failed. This is why we're talking about money. But really, would we have any issue at all if these players actually smashed it on the pitch? and perform well. We have bought the wrong profile of player. We have bought players that had big names and were great commercially. We've gone about it all wrong recruitment-wise. And we're talking right now about finances again. I think we've been led down this path blindly without even realising. Look, we're thinking about deals now and how much money we can save because we've wasted so much money in the past. And I think that's where this fan base is right now. I've seen someone put a comment up on Twitter, actually, about the Garnacho one. We paid 80 million for Antony, so there's no way that Garnacho is worth half the value of Antony. And I'm like, point proven exactly there. If that is your logic for not letting Garnacho go for 50 million, then I would come back and say, well, is Garnacho worth 8 times as much as Nusar Mazraoui? Because we got him for 14 million. What happened to other players in the past and other transfers that went down for Manchester United are completely irrelevant to where we're at with Garnacho right now. Do you know why Garnacho is different? Because United actually have a decent player in a structure of a football club that's actually being run properly at the moment. It's going to take years to actually be running smoothly every single season like other clubs, but right now we are running properly as a football club. And United can have this stance with Garnacho. If they feel like the valuation is around 50 million, then that's what we will sell him for. All that matters is Ruben gets a player in to replace him that works better than Garnacho. Is that not the ultimate goal? To have players that are better than the ones that we have got? Or the players that are on the pitch get better? And if he isn't, then we need another player in. And that's all that matters. When it comes to finances, it should be completely irrelevant. Because football, will, in the end, will counter any financial deal that's gone wrong in the past by us performing well and winning and getting into these big competitions, which will bring in more money and revenue to Manchester United. This is where this club is at right now. So with the Garnacho situation, we'll know whether or not Manchester United accept this bid. We'll go past it, and hopefully we'll just be talking about the football. But all we need to do, and like I said, with Alvaro Fernandez, it makes sense just to go and buy him, does it? Is Garnacho 20 times more valuable than Alvaro Fernandez? You can balance this argument and use these stupid transfers in the past all you want to talk about the value of Garnacho. The reality is, United had complete and utter numpties running this football club for a decade who would pay these stupid prices for players that weren't worth it. Every single player that Ten Hag has brought into this football club has not been worth it, barring a few deals. I actually feel like Lisandro Martinez is a 35, 40 million pound player, not 50 odd million. Casemiro was never worth 60 million at the time. Antony, say no more. Look at them deals. You cannot use them with what Man United were doing back then as an example as to what we can be comparing Garnacho's transfer to. You really can't. Now let's get through a few of your chats on that situation and everything. Dorgu, I mean, are you surprised that we've actually been in for Dorgu? Get into the chat, everybody. Let me know. Biggs, thank you for that gifted membership. We have another super chat in from You Got Raws as well. So still shaping up to be a decent January window. Rashford, Casemiro, Antony and Malacia out on various degrees of sales and loans. Flush these turds, he says. If these players left, the only thing I've said that I am slightly concerned about is what players come in. Now, I would love to see youth integrated in like we spoke about yesterday morning, but are we going to get another player in if we sell Garnacho? That's the only one I'm bothered about. I can see Malacia leaving. I think United are working on something like the Lecce bid for Dorgu proves, like I've just been saying there, that proves that point that we are actually bidding for someone actively in January. So that looks promising. And then, obviously, if Garnacho does leave for what I think will be about 50 million eventually, I think United will sell at that. I think that is the mark. I think you cannot turn down 50 million for Garnacho right now if he's not in the plans. Then I think someone will actually come in, but I don't know who. I mean, obviously, Manchester United do have options in the transfer window. I'm not hearing of anybody going for Jonathan David. I'm not hearing anyone going for Angel Gomez and these types of players. They're obviously players that we need to make sure work in the Ruben Amorim world, which is the big problem. Well, not a problem, but obviously it sort of limits what we can actually look at in terms of bringing players in as well, doesn't it? So I feel like right now, when you look at the bid for Dorgu, Antony leaving, Malacia leaving, Rashford leaving, possibly Garnacho leaving, Casemiro leaving. I mean, Eriksen, I don't know. I would keep Eriksen. I would just let him play out his contract. You've seen what he can do in a tight situation against Southampton the other night. That bit of quality and that bit of professionalism will go a long way in this Man United side. I don't think United should be moving Eriksen on. Casemiro, if you want to, just make that happen, but it's gone quiet on that at the moment. Something, again, seriously wrong with these deals that Manchester United have made, which are making it virtually impossible for us to move players on. We are actually really embarrassing at the moment. Oh, by the way, don't forget, after this show, we're flying straight across to Football Talks for the Paper Round show. All of the paper stories and everything going on in the Premier League world. One story which is going to annoy a lot of people is the City getting away with their 115 charges. More news on that in the Paper Round on Football Talks after this show. Link is in the live chat right now and description, everybody. We will redirect you across as well. So it'd be good to have a few people in on that one, please, if everyone could come across. Let's get into the comment section. We talked about quite a lot there. Let's get your thoughts in on everything. Sam says, give Højlund a chance. He has been playing with a bunch of underperformers. He at least works his socks off, get decent wingers, then judge him. Look, mate, judgment is going to come on Højlund at the end of this season, I think, 2 years in. He can't hold the ball up or link play. He's doing simple things wrong at the moment, and you cannot really disagree with that. If he's not doing the simple things, we can judge him on them. They have to get better. He has been very, very poor so far, like everybody else in this team. Well, barring a few, obviously. Tomo in Thailand says, bit off topic, sorry, but anyone else at Old Trafford for Barcelona 84? What a night. No, I wasn't. I was free. But I've watched that game back, yeah, and it looked like a night. Paul says, look at Bournemouth. How much have they spent? It proves you don't always need to pay transfers, ridiculous transfers and wages. James says, if any player doesn't hit the standards Amorim sets, it's out. That's it. None of Ten Hag's signings have been a success. Not all bad signings. But, yeah, I mean, there are players that have succeeded that were brought in by Ten Hag. I think there were a couple, but he did so much wrong to this football club in the players that he brought in, and the hierarchy and the people at the club who were above Ten Hag at the time have set us back so far. I think we're just all dealing with the situation right now as it is. We're all dealing with wanting to succeed and move forward, criticising everything that Ineos are doing, but it is all down to the Glazers, the people they employed. And we're just playing catch-up right now. That's where we're at. That's the big, big reality in all of this as well. Nacho can do one, remember. Remember, they overpriced Koulibaly for 80 million. What about Osimhen? We know they sold Kvaratskhelia, so they've got the money. We should rinse them. Yeah, but if they don't buy him, then we still have him. And then we know we've got a player that was actively looking to move away from Manchester United. It's not about what's happened before. It's not about how much money they have got. It's about Ruben Amorim. If you want to focus on football, if you want to focus on getting better results on the pitch, you have to put what you think is wrong or right in the transfer window aside. You have to do everything that you can that gets Ruben Amorim the players that he wants. So if we're going to go back and challenge them as to what they did with us before, or how much money we think they do have from PSG for selling Kvaratskhelia, then we're not going to get anywhere. What would you rather it be? Garnacho still struggling in the United side until the end of the season, United stay in bottom half of the table, or actually have a chance of getting a player this window that Ruben Amorim can actually use properly, and we can actually move forward with that, or have a chance of moving forward with a better player? What would you rather have? That's the question, really. The poll running up in the chat right now is about the game this weekend. More on that later. Obviously, the road trip video is coming up as well very soon, so make sure you tune in for that. Will United end the day in 11th place? That's where United will be if we actually beat Brighton today. And we will close the gap on Brighton, who are in the top 10, by the way. Yes, they are. Top 10. And we're actually close. I think we come within 2 points of Brighton if we win today. And it's United then looking up a little bit more. Can we get our first back-to-back victory in the Premier League this season, this afternoon? I think that's what we have to look at. Get Osimhen, Gyökeres, Sesko, Sel, Rashford, Casemiro, Xerxes. Says David. Samuel says Naipan would be a decent replacement for Bruno Fernandes. Arsenal are up on Naipan as well, by the way, right now. Hearing that Manchester United may actually lose out on that long-term, or so-called long-term target to Arsenal. Xerxes is better than Højlund, says Amir. I think we'll see Xerxes today. Look, I said it before. I'm gonna just bring this one up again. If United are going to negotiate with Napoli over Garnacho, I would want guarantees that we're going to get Osimhen in the summer. I would say that. I would put a massive sell-on clause onto Garnacho. I would put a buyback clause into Garnacho. And I would say to Napoli, you don't want Osimhen. We want first refusal on him at this price in the summer. This is what we want. If he doesn't want to leave Galatasaray and he wants to honour his loan there, then we'll take Osimhen in the summer. Guaranteed. That's the sort of negotiating that I would be doing. I think United need to take advantage of Napoli. If they're not going to pay the money, you take what you can. And there is an opportunity there for a player to come in that United would actually thrive with in Osimhen. I do rate him. Look, there's plenty of strikers out there right now. We'll talk about it more actually on Football Talks, but you've got your Seskos of this world, you've got Gyökeres, you've got Osimhen. All of these three big, top quality strikers are going to be moving this summer. And there's plenty of takers for them as well. So I feel like if there is a chance we could get our hands on one now, or basically get in a position where we are the ones that are going to be taking that player in the summer, just go for it. Use the situation to your advantage. Play the game a little bit. That's what we need to do. We need to play the game a little bit here, United. If Napoli want to play hardball, then so will we. And for me, I think that's the angle that United take at it. Let's just see. United getting battered today, says Mark. Again, I'll talk about the game in a bit. I understand people's worries for today, though. I'm with you on it. I am. Another super chat in from DJ John. Thank you, mate. But if Garnacho want to leave and Amorim want him to stay, who's wrong? Amorim or the fans? Trust Amorim. I still believe in Garnacho. He's young. I don't think Amorim wants Garnacho. I've been told that he can go. I was told about 6 weeks ago, probably even further back than that Garnacho is on the out list. I don't think Ruben really rates him. And honestly, I'll say this now. If Garnacho stays, good for him. Hopefully he realises that he has to do 20 times better. Because in the summer, after United do their business, and after Manchester United have done that and we start next season, Garnacho is not a starting 11 player for Ruben Amorim. That's my prediction. That's where I think we're at right now. Do we want guaranteed starting 11 players now with what we've got, or do we want to just wait around for these players to actually come good? I think Garnacho could develop into the player that Ruben wants, but it's going to take 2 years, and it's not going to be through playing week in, week out. I don't think he's a starter. I really don't. I think the purchases and the transfers that are going to happen this summer will move Garnacho to the bench. I think this is why he's looking. This is why his people are looking at moving away. I honestly feel like this is the situation we're in right now. And if we do keep Garnacho, is it going to be a concern that we've got another player there that has actually tried to move and doesn't want to be a United player in the squad? Because that's how it's looking and sounding at the moment. So really, that's what I think we've got to look at and pay attention to as well. Thank you if you have subscribed. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you give the video a like. That will take us to around 300 likes. We have 6 new members in on this show alone today. We are going to move the show across now to Football Talks, everybody, our other channel. Please jump across there. We're talking about everything going down with Manchester City. We're talking about everything going down in the papers from this morning as well, and all of the transfer gossip around the Premier League. Some United news in there as well. So we're going to get across to that. Thank you, everybody, for being part of the show. I will see you all later on, obviously on FUTV again. Road trip coming up. I'll see you outside Old Trafford. I'll see you in the aftermath later on. We've got a show with Jay later on when I get back home from the game. We're going to be live with all your thoughts in the breakdown show. We have an extended show with highlights of the game involved as well, straight after the breakdown show on Big Up, our other channel as well. Yes, another channel. We're busy, busy, busy. We have a ton of content today, everyone, so make sure that you're tuned in, subscribe, make sure you've got your bell notifications on. I'll see you all over on Football Talks in just a moment.